So let's talk sales and not getting discouraged, because sales itself is a roller coaster. And for many of you who are going to be new to the sales game, you're going to really have to understand that you need to remove your emotions from this process. So unfortunately, when it comes to sales, we are not going to close 100% of our calls. Some of you are going to be better than others and you're going to have a higher closing rate. But you need to understand, regardless of what your rates are, to avoid feeling discouraged about sales. Let's understand that when someone tells us no, that one of my favorite terminologies is no means next opportunity. And that's very true. When someone isn't moving forward with us, that doesn't mean that the door is closed for them or for us. There's potential to work with them in the future, and there's also potential to learn from that conversation to help you on your next calls. What I want you to focus on, especially early on, is removing your emotion from the sale and just being a part of that process and helping get them to the next step. And understanding that if they do move forward with you, that they felt like you were the best resource to take them to whatever their achieved goal is. All right. And if not, then you're either not the best fit or not the best fit at this time, which means that maybe down the road you will be. But there's never a bad sales call, because when you have a sales call, it is giving you the potential to learn and to understand your clientele. And the more that you learn and the more that you understand, and even the more that you fail, the better you are going to get and the more information you will be armed with on your next call. So remove your emotion from not closing a deal and instead understand that it is your responsibility to take as many at-bats as you can. In baseball, you'll never always hit a home run. And in fact, in baseball, a 300 average or above is good, which means that if you played baseball, you understand that if you're able to get a hit just 3 out of 10 times, you are still one of the best players in the league. So sales is not very different from that. If you're closing 3 out of every 10 calls, I promise you guys, you're going to be in a pretty good spot and feeling pretty good. So your responsibility is to keep getting on those calls and keep getting those calls on a daily and weekly basis to give yourself, quote unquote, more at-bats to close deals. And the cool thing about this is, as I had referenced, the more opportunities and the more chances you have to be on these calls and in this position, the better you're going to get, because you're going to, number one, understand your clientele better. 2, you're going to have more repetitions and feel more confident. And 3, you'll start to understand that all you need to do is get on these calls and the rest will happen for you. If you continue to get on these calls, you will have someone who is interested in what you offer and that will move forward. And the time that it takes on these calls is pretty minimal. You know, some sales calls can go 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Some may last an hour, but that gives you a potential, even if your calls are up to an hour long, of still being on anywhere from 8 to 10 calls per day, depending on the amount of time you're putting in your business, which gives you a lot of at-bats and a lot of potential to grow your business. But don't get stuck in that feeling of, oh, I'm not closing deals, I'm not good at sales, any of those negative thoughts, because they're going to hinder you from wanting to get on more calls, which in return is going to hurt you a lot more than not closing a deal ever would. So remove the emotion, focus on the process, and I promise you, if you're focused on the process and getting on calls, the outcome that you're looking for will happen.